Venerable Sir, friends in the Dhamma, what will happen to you after the death? Have you ever thought of it? In fact, this was a question raised by many and thought by many. In every human civilization, great thinkers, philosophers, religious founders, they all tried to answer this question. So, human destiny after the death is one of the crucial questions that humanity always raised or wanted to know. When we look at the answers given by those great thinkers and philosophers, all these answers can be divided into three major categories regarding what happened to us after we die. First of all, we have the materialistic view. Those friends who uphold the view that only material existence is the reality and the rest of whatever existence is a false belief. According to them, life will end in death. Brahmi mrutasya dehasya punaragamanam kruta. The question. Once we are dead and gone, and after the cremation, who is going to come back? So death is the end of everything. So only reality is this life that we spend. So this is the materialistic view. They simply denied any kind of existence after the death. Then we also have a second view, a kind of view upheld by the theological religions in the orthodox forms like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and such religions. According to their belief, after the death, someone may live eternally either in hell or heaven. That, of course, depends on the will of the God. They also do not believe that we existed in the past. They strongly believe life is created by the God and it is a gift by the God. And then after the death, we will live eternally, either in hell or heaven. This is theological religious belief. Then we have the third view. This is the belief of re-existence, the belief of rebirth. Especially this belief is held by the Eastern religions like Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, and such kind of religions. This is the belief that we existed in the past, and at presently we are also living now, and the death is not the end. After the death we will be reborn. So this present life is one of the series of many lives. So death is not the end, it's the beginning of another life. So we human beings and other living beings, we are evolving. We are born and live for a period of time, then we die, and then we will be born again. So birth, death, cycle, wandering on, is given label as samsara, wandering on from life to life. Buddha says such a long time we are wandering on in this cycle of existence. If there was someone to collect the bones of a single person who is wandering thus, the bones will be greater than the great mountains on the earth. Such a long time we are wandering. Now, when we look at this question or rebirth from the Buddhist point of view, after the death, someone can be born in many other planes of existence, and altogether we talk about 31 realms of existence. It is possible after the death, someone can take rebirth in one of these existences. So out of these 31 realms, 4 are considered as unhappy realms, lower realms. Other than these 4, all the other 27 realms are happy destinations, happy realms. Human realm is one of the happy realms. And other than that, there are 26 happy divine realms. So, we can be born in one of these realms, depend on our own karmic energy. So, who decide who will be born in the hell or heaven? Not the Buddha, not the God, or anyone else, but by ourselves. So we are the ones who create our heaven, and we are the ones who create our hell. And it is our decision, and it's our action. So friends, as human beings, we not only have the power and ability to control our own lives here and shape up our lives to become better human beings, we also have the power and ability to even to decide our future lives and our future rebirth if we take conscious actions and if we are well disciplined and were to behave and take appropriate actions, we can even decide our future life. That is what Buddhism teaches. So you are not fated. You are not left alone without power. In fact, we have so much power, ability, capacities. It's up to us to decide which directions that we want to move. Now, when we ask the questions, can we decide our future birth? There are many suttas scattered in Tipitaka, in Pali Canon, where we come across the Buddha's teachings, where we can utilize when we want to decide our future rebirth. In a sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, Buddha talks about if a human being were to do a meritorious action, and at the end of the meritorious action, if he were to make a wish to be born in a particular realm, provided that human being uphold righteous principles, and after the death, he can be born in such a realm wherever he wished, provided that he get the necessary conditions. So friends, just because we wish to be born in somewhere as a divine being or human being, it does not work in that way. We need to have necessary conditions. So what are the necessary conditions to decide our future birth? First of all, we have to perform meritorious actions. The label merits or meritorious action is used to mean pleasant, vibrant, positive type of actions. These are the most beautiful actions that human beings are capable of doing. Any kind of good action, motivated by good thoughts, intended bringing good results, and done out of compassion and goodwill, such actions are meritorious actions. We can do these wonderful actions anywhere, everywhere, at any time. Not necessarily that you have to go to the temple to do it. In fact, Buddhism encourages you must practice such kind of great meritorious actions whenever, wherever it is possible. Buddha says, rare is this human life. And those who achieve this precious human life, and they should do merits. Punyanche puriso kaira kairate tam punak punang. Wise people, those who are intelligent, and those who understand the nature of this life, and they do merits again and again and again. Why it is so? Sukho punya succayo. Increasing of the merit is nothing but increasing of happiness. So as happy-seeking human beings who want to be happy in this life and who want to achieve future happy lives, then we must do meritorious actions. So the first condition, we have to do a meritorious action. Not only one action, but many meritorious actions. Before you do any kind of good action, be happy and joyful. Have a lot of pleasant thoughts in your mind. While you are doing that meritorious actions, be happy and joyful, and be mindful not to defile your mind, not to defile your thinking, not to generate any kind of negative, destructive, unwholesome type of thoughts. Maintain the pure, calm serenity in your mind. After you did the meritorious action, and be happy and joyful again, and whenever think of that action, you should be able to be happy. So this is the first condition. A meritorious action which is done with wholesome thoughts. Second necessary conditions, having done a meritorious action, then you must make a positive aspiration. By the power of these merits, may I be born again in Singapore. By the power of these merits, may I be born in this divine realm or that divine realm. Or may I be born as a human being. Or may I be born to be a fluent human being. So whatever your wishes, you can make after doing a great meritorious action. Then that is not enough. Not only you make this wish after meritorious deeds, but you strengthen your mind again and again, again and again. Whenever you do a meritorious actions, again and again you make the same aspiration and you stick into it. You do not change your mind. This is the second condition. But suppose having done one meritorious deed, then you make up your mind to be born in Singapore. And having done another meritorious deed, then you want to be born in Australia. Having done another meritorious deeds, you want to be born in heaven. So it doesn't work in that way. So you must make up your mind first. And where do you want to be born? Whether you want to be born as a human being or divine being or whatever. And then having done the merits, you have to make that same aspiration. This is the second condition. Third condition is very important. The Buddha says that human beings should uphold righteous principles. Why? What will happen? Having done meritorious actions, you made this good aspiration. But if you are someone who do not uphold righteous principles, if you are someone who do not observe the precepts, but were to do evil, wicked, immoral actions later stage, then you will produce negative, destructive type of karmic energy. So that is possible that these negative karmic energy can take precedence, can take over your positive, wholesome karmic energy. So in that sense, it can overtake, negative karmic energy perhaps can overtake, under necessary conditions, your own positive karmic energy. In order to prevent that, in order to make sure that you will achieve your goal and will be born in a destination that you wish, you must make sure that you refrain from doing evil, wicked, immoral, unwholesome action. So you uphold righteous principle. So friends, when you have these three necessary conditions, what are these three necessary conditions? You do a meritorious deed. Second, at the end of the meritorious deeds, you make an aspiration to be born a particular realm. And then third, you also uphold righteous principle. So if you can practice these three things throughout your life, then you can decide your future life. You have control over this life, and you will have control over next life. So you can decide your future life. But just because you have the aspiration alone, it will not come into fulfillment. Some people have the wholesome aspirations to be born in this realm or that realm, but they do not have supportive karmic energy. And because of that, they cannot achieve their goal. Suppose, friends, you have a wish to go to another country, but you do not have a passport, you do not have necessary visa, you do not have any air ticket, but you have only a wish to go to that country. It will not fulfill in that way. It's very simple and logical. In the same manner, positive aspirations alone cannot bring your aspirations to fulfillment. We need to have supportive karmic energy. In the time of the Buddha, there were some people strongly believed in asceticism. Some people strongly believed by observing severe, austere practices, by torturing the body, and by living such austere type of life, they can produce merits. They believe that they can cultivate virtues like compassion, goodwill, friendship. They believe that they can reduce their defilements. So this was a very popular belief. So many hundreds of people, thousands of people, they believe in it, and some of them, they practice these severe, austere practices, thinking they can produce wholesome karmic energy, thinking that they can be born in the heaven. So there were two ascetics. One was Punna, the other one was Seniya. Two of them were practicing certain type of severe austerities. One was practicing dog asceticism. The other one was practicing ox asceticism. The one who was practicing dog asceticism, he sleep like a dog, eat like a dog, walk like a dog, perhaps maybe urinate like a dog also. He behave all these behavior of a dog. And he strongly believed as a result of that practice, he will be born in the heaven. And there was another man. He practiced ox asceticism, behave like an ox. Two of them, they strongly believed because of such severe, austere practices, they will be born in the heaven. And they came to the Buddha. And they asked the question from the Buddha, Venerable Sir, Lord, I practice dog asceticism, my friend practice ox asceticism. Our wish is to be born in the heaven. We want to be born in the heaven. Will our wish come true? What did the Buddha say? His answer was very logical, very simple, and easy to understand. He said, if a human being, being a human being, still practices and cultivates the habits of a dog, a mentality of a dog, and a behavior of a dog, and after the death, he will be born as a dog. Very logical. And it's our mind, friends. It's our mind who makes you to be a god or ghost or an animal. Nothing of material can go beyond the death. It's only the mental energy that will reappear, either in a gross form or subtle form, in different realms. So if you were to cultivate a mentality of a hungry ghost now, being very stingy and very selfish, being always grumpy, being miserable, gloomy, negative, after the death you will be a hungry ghost. If you were to develop a kind of mind which is suitable for a devil, easily agitated, get angry, and have grudges in your mind, and having these evil, wicked, immoral, unwholesome thoughts, you're always unhappy and behave in such a way, then of course after the death you will be born in such a realm, what is suitable for you. On the other hand, if you were to develop a kind, pleasant type of mind, which is suitable for a highly developed human being or divine being, you will be born in such a realm. So it's our mind, friends. So we should not misunderstand just because we have aspirations to be born in a particular realm. It does not happen as long as we do not have supportive karmic energy. So our wholesome aspirations must be supported by wholesome karmic energy. For those people who kill thinking that they will be born in the heaven, they will definitely go to the hell. There are human beings who strongly believe by taking a gun and killing hundreds of people and thousands of people, or by suiciding themselves, and they can be born in the heaven. There are human beings who believe in such a way. But from the Buddhist point of view, these human beings, they are motivated by hatred, ill will, jealousy, anger, and cruelty. And then they kill other human beings and they kill themselves. Even though they have the aspirations to be born in the heaven, it will never happen. So we must make sure not only we have positive aspirations, but we also must have supported karmic energy. There's another interesting discourse which is very fruitful for our discussion here. This sutta is known as Subha Sutta. Subha, one of a young man who always wanted to be born in the heaven, and he came to the Buddha. And he said, Venerable Sir, I have heard you know the way, the path, to be born in super divine realm after the death. Can you please teach me how to be born in super divine realm? I want to be born among Brahma beings, super divine beings. So Buddha said, yes, that is possible, provided you cultivate these four virtues: immeasurable love, immeasurable compassion, appreciative joy, and perfect equanimity. And if you can develop these four great virtues here and now, you will be happy, and after the death, you will be born among those divine beings. So friends, it's very practical and very simple and down to earth, and Buddhism is nothing to do with mystery, it has nothing to do with superstitious belief. It's a very practical teaching. Use your common sense, then we can understand Buddhism. So here in this particular sutta also, Buddha point out, our mind is very important. It's our mind. If we develop a mind which is suitable for a divine being, then if we fix into it, then after the death, we will be born among the divine beings. Now, there will be these questions. Buddhism teaches the last thought of this life will be the beginning of our next life. Because from the Buddhist point of view, this body change and change and change and come to a point and it cannot change anymore, so it will collapse to the ground. At this moment of separation of physical and mental energies, what will happen to the mind? Buddhism says the death is not the end. When the physical body collapses to the ground, what we popularly call death, the mental energy will reappear somewhere else, what we popularly call rebirth. That process will happen depend on the last thought which arise in this life. Like our body is always changing. Billions of cells are born, and after some time they are dead, and when they die, they give birth to billions of other cells. So moment by moment, our body is changing. So is our mind. Feelings, perceptions, mental formations, consciousness, they all are arising and passing away in a constant flux. So one thought arises and it survives, and when it dies, it gives birth to another thought. So chitta after chitta, moment by moment, the mind is flowing. It is in succession. It is in condition genesis. So the last thought of this life will be the beginning of our next life. So who will know the last thought of this life? What will happen if we have negative, destructive, unwholesome thoughts at the moment of our death? Then we will not be able to have a happy rebirth. So how can we overcome this situation? This is one of the important questions. In order to overcome this particular problem, we need to practice the teachings. As I said, just because you know the Dhamma, and you are not going to be born in pleasurable realm unless you practice the Dhamma. Knowing is one thing, practicing is another thing. Understanding and practice must go hand in hand in order to achieve the result. Some strongly believe that theoretical understanding can bring them very good result. Of course, theoretical understanding is very important, but it's not complete without practice. So friends, in Buddhist teachings, there are various types of meditations which help us to develop our mind. So there is a particular type of meditation which Buddha always encouraged his followers to develop, and that is the meditation on death. Many people, they don't like to talk about the death. But Buddha says, if we want to develop our mind, death meditation is one of the best. Why it is so? Because death meditation reduces the fear of our mind towards the death. When you think of the death, when you contemplate on the death, again and again, when you realize the reality of this death, your delusion regarding the death eventually will disappear, together with its counterpart, fear. You will understand that death is not the end. In fact, it's the beginning of another life. So when you eventually reduce fear towards the death, at the moment of the death, when it happens to you, you can face it with calm mind, with serene mind. Because you have a calm mind, and at that moment you are not confused, and you will remember your positive action, meritorious action, you will remember your positive aspirations. So at the moment of departing from this life, you will not be confused, you will not forget where you want to be born again. So in this way, friends, death meditation is one of very fruitful meditation in our discussion here. And if you want to decide your future birth, and practicing death meditation will be greatly helpful. Another type of meditation is the reflection on the Buddha. Buddha has got wonderful, marvelous virtue. So if someone were to cultivate the meditation on the virtue of the Buddha, that person will develop a great confidence in the Buddha, faith in the Buddha. And when that person develops great confidence, faith in the Buddha, he will listen to the Dhamma and try to follow the Dhamma. So in this way, he will keep away from evil and he will cultivate the good. So at the moment of the death, when he can recollect his mind about the meditation he cultivated throughout his life, he doesn't feel fear. But instead of fear, he feels confidence, he feels faith in the triple gems. So thus, he will not be confused at the moment of the death. Another important meditation is metta meditation, one we just practiced before our class. If someone were to cultivate this meditation again, he will develop a lot of wholesome, positive thoughts in mind. He will refrain from evil, he will cultivate good at the moment of the death, and he will not be confused. One of the benefits of practicing metta meditation, uttaring appati vijjanto brahma lokupago hoti. After the death, he can be born in super divine realm among Brahma beings. So these are some of the simple meditations that we can adopt in our day-to-day life. And then we will develop our mind, we will reduce our fears towards the death, we will develop great confidence. So at the moment of the death, we won't be confused and we will die peacefully with a smiling face, and we can be born in pleasurable, favorable realm. So friends, wholesome aspiration alone is not enough if we want to decide our future birth. We need to do meritorious actions. At the end of meritorious actions, we have to make positive aspirations. We have to uphold righteous principles. And we also have to develop our mind following some simple meditation techniques like loving kindness or death meditation or reflection on the Buddha, such kind of meditations. So we can control our mind at the moment of the death, And then we can be born in pleasurable, favorable realm, wherever you wish to be born. So in this way, can you decide your future rebirth? Yes, you can do that, provided you practice. So this much is enough as a talk. So we'll open this session for Q&A.
Testing. Okay, we now have come to the Q&A session. Should any Dhamma brothers or sister has any questions, you may put up your hand so I can send the mic to you. Any questions?
Thank you, Bhante, for interesting talks. I would say I'm a beginner exposure to Buddhism. So there may be something that I thought, if I offended anybody, please forgive me. I read something about Arahant. So do Arahant have this last stop moment, or they don't have any last stop moment?
The term Arahant is used for enlightened human beings. Regardless of these human beings are male or female, or ordained or otherwise, it does not matter. The term Arahant is used to mean enlightened human beings. Term Arahant literally means worthy ones. These are the human beings who eradicated all the defilements. They are utterly pure and they are full of wisdom and compassion. They have thoughts, but all their thoughts are wholesome. They don't have any negative thoughts. So your question, whether they have last thought, they definitely have last thought, but they don't have attachment to thoughts. They have eradicated attachment to feelings, perceptions, mental formation, and consciousness. Since they do not have attachment anymore towards any of these 5 aggregates of clinging, at the moment of the death, they are totally free. So, Arahanthood is again given the label freedom, freedom from all the sufferings. So Arahants may have thoughts, but what they don't have is attachment. We at the moment of the death, we have attachment. Attachment to our feelings, attachment to our perceptions, attachment to our consciousness, and all these will reproduce rebirth, which Arahants are beyond that.
Thank you. Just one more, just to get a more clearer understanding. Just now you mentioned there is a karmic energy that around. So around without any attachment, so this karmic energy will not so-called propel it forward to the next birth. Am I correct to say that?
That's right.
Any more questions from the ground?
Thank you very much for your very thought-provoking Dhamma talk. As usual, it's always very enlightening. I'd just like to ask a very simple question. When you do meritorious deeds, there are many, many forms you can actually do it. I always have this thought that when you do something meritorious deed, you don't ask for anything. All you do it is in a very happy, wholesome, calm mind. That's it. Hopefully, if you do a meritorious deed for a person who wants to get well, you only wish him to get well. Full stop. And you don't ask for anything. Can you elaborate on that, please? Thank you.
Okay. Is it wrong to make aspiration at the end of a meritorious deed? You can ask the same question in a different way. Is it wrong to make aspirations at the end of a meritorious deed? It is not wrong, as long as your aspiration is wholesome. As ordinary human beings who are not yet enlightened, we have a lot of wishes in our life. So at the end of a meritorious deeds, if you make positive, wholesome aspirations, that's perfectly all right. But from the ultimate Buddhist point of view and most pure Buddhist point of view, whether we have a human life or divine life, we are not free from suffering. In human forms, we have our share of suffering. In divine form, even though we have more bliss and happiness, we still have our share of divine form of suffering. So not a single living being is free from suffering. So ultimate point of view, Buddhists, they want to achieve Nibbana, enlightenment. But enlightenment comes when we uproot attachment perfectly, permanently, and irreversibly. So whenever we do, in this case, in ultimate sense, when you do the meritorious deeds, if you were to do the meritorious deeds without any attachment, with sole intention of eradicating the attachment, and that is the most pure aspect of it. So we have two realms, we have two aspects of the meritorious deeds. In one aspect, ordinary sense. In ordinary sense, you may want to achieve different wishes in this life or in next life, related to repeated existence, related to samsara, birth and death cycle. So is it okay to make aspiration at the end of meritorious deeds? It's perfectly all right, as long as aspirations are wholesome. But then, as understanding Buddhist, we want to uproot the defilements and achieve enlightenment. That is world transcending, beyond the world, and that is the Nibbana. So in that sense, it is good that we do not do any meritorious action with attachment. For example, giving, practicing giving. Practicing giving produce merits. So after practicing giving, you can make a wholesome aspiration, either related to this life or next life. Is it wrong? It is not wrong. That's perfectly all right. Related to the ordinary worldly sense. But in a pure sense, why do we give? Because we have so much attachment, so we want to eradicate the attachment, so we give away with the intention of achieving the detachment. So in most pure sense, we give to detach from attachment. I hope that you got the answer.
Any more questions?
I just wanted to ask, so you talked, Bante, yeah, so for the happy realms you talked about, so where do animals belong in the realm? Is it a happy or sad one? And if, for example, in your next life you're born as an animal, how do you accumulate like positive karma?
Animal realm is considered as one of lower realms and unhappy realms. Why it is so? You might see animals also enjoy sense pleasure like we enjoy the sense pleasure. So you cannot say that animal realms doesn't have pleasure and happiness. Definitely animals, they enjoy some degree of pleasure, some degree of happiness. But compared to human realm, that is nothing. On the other hand, in human realms, we have more sublime type of happiness other than the pleasure that we can find into 5 sense faculties. You can derive the parallel between human pleasure and animal pleasure when it comes to 5 sense faculties. But beyond 5 sense faculties, human beings are capable of achieving and enjoying more subtler and sublime type of happiness. When you do great meritorious deeds, you have a spiritual type of happiness. When you sit for the meditation and cultivate your mind, and you have more spiritual type of jhanic bliss and happiness. So human beings are more capable of producing more subtler, more refined types of happiness than the animals. Because animals, their mind is more deluded than human beings. We are also, of course, deluded human beings. But animal mind is more deluded than human beings. So because of that, compared to human realm, animal realm is a lower realm. And they have constant fear. Running away from predators, hunting to be hunted, day and night, they are having so much fear, agony. I think many of you watch the Animal Planet and Discoveries, and you can see the suffering in that realm. In human realms, we also have sufferings, yes, but we created these sufferings. Human beings, we have the ability to create this earth, turn this earth to be a heaven and live peacefully. But because of our delusion again, we create havoc and miseries by ourselves. So we have to pay for it. And we not only create unhappiness for ourselves and miseries, we also create unhappiness and miseries even for animal realm. So why animal realm is considered as a lower realm again? Because of the mind. Human mind is more brilliant, and human mind can be developed. And nothing comparable with the human beings. We are not birds, but we can fly better than the eagles. I believe we can. We are not fish, but we can still swim better than the dolphins. We can grow from one planet to another planet. We have conquered the earth. We have conquered the land, the sea, and we are conquering outer space. We have expanded our eyes, and we can see the billions of galaxies from our modern telescopes. We have expanded our ears. We can hear anything at any time in this world. You can on your radio or TV and you can see what is happening. You can pick up your phone and talk with somebody who is on the other corner of the world. All these are possible because of the human mind. And if you want to talk about the spiritual realm, you have got the most favorable chances to develop your mind, achieve various jhana, and eradicate the defilements, and achieve even the highest, supreme type of bliss and happiness, which is the Nibbana. The animals are not capable of doing it. That is why animal realm is a lower realm. Second question you are asking, once after you are born as an animal, will that person be born in other realms? So why it is so difficult? In Buddhism, we don't have eternal hells. Even the hells are temporary. So if someone were to be born as an animal due to negative type of karmic energy, once after that negative type of karmic energy is over, that person can be born in another realm, either as a human being or divine being. That is possible. So animal realm, or for that reason any other suffering realms, they are not permanent. And so as human realm or divine realms, they are also not permanent. Any life in any form is not permanent. And we are moving from realm to realm, from life to life depend on our own actions. But once someone is born as an animal or lower realm, it will be a bit difficult for them to get rid of it for the simple reason in that realm they have more opportunities to produce negative karmic energy than positive karmic energy. Can you expect a tiger to observe precept, to become vegetarian? It's impossible. So in that way, when you are born as animal realms, you are more deluded and you are following a kind of certain pattern. And we human beings, we have options and we can be more creative and innovative. Animals also have these abilities, but their abilities are very limited. Animals also can produce wholesome thoughts, but it is very limited compared to human beings. So this is the reason why in Buddhism it is considered animal realm is a lower realm and suffering realm. It is when we compare with human realms. Why do we compare? Divine realm is more superior and more blissful. It is when we compare with human realms. So in this way, this is relativity. Buddhist relativity concept. Relative, all these are relatively, we say this realm is full of suffering or this realm is full of happiness is relative term.
Thank you, Bhante. I'm not sure about this. Can I make aspiration like this? At my deathbed, may I able to maintain wholesome thoughts at my last moment?
You can have this thought provided you practice it. Provided you cultivate mindfulness on this.
Wholesome thoughts all the time.
Okay, wholesome thoughts, then you have to maintain in your mind. So every moment, if you were to develop like loving kindness, you maintain wholesome thoughts. If you were to practice mindfulness meditation and you are very aware about your evil unwholesome thoughts when they arise, so we can do away with them. So when your wholesome thoughts backed by your own wholesome actions and words, and they become all meritorious. And at the moment of the death, you will remember them.
Become a habit.
Become a habit, yes.
Thank you.
And you cannot have this habit by aspirations. Habit comes only through practice. Correct?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay, if there's no more questions from the ground, we'd like to invite Bhante to lead every one of us to dedicate merits.
Okay, friends, let's put our palms together. Be happy and joyful having come to this monastery, temple today. We have spent our time very meaningful way. We practiced metta meditation. We engaged in Dhamma discussion. The merits that we acquired through these wholesome actions be upon the Devas. May the good Devas rejoice over these merits. Having shared these merits, may the Devas protect you, protect your loved ones, protect the dispensation of the Buddha. May the Devas attain happiness, Nibbana, Sisada. Our departed relatives and friends, wherever they are, may they all share these merits. Having shared these merits, may they be free from worries and sufferings. Be well, be happy. May all our departed loved ones attain happiness, Nibbana. May the great blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha be upon all of you. May all of your good wishes, good dreams come true. May these merits be helpful to refrain from the evil, to cultivate the good, to follow the noble path of the Buddha and attain happiness Nibbana.